You buy the land for $10,000, you sell it for $30,000. Well, I got to make enough offers. Okay, if I make 1,000 offers, 999 of those people are going to tell me no, that one person.
Brent, how's it going, bud? Thanks for coming on the show today, man.
All is well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. No, I'm looking forward to your story. I'm excited about, someone that was in the Army, and I think we talked about this previously. You wanted to get out. You're looking at some single family rental flips, didn't work out, and you figured something else on the land side. Tell us about it and how eventually you're able to kind of move on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had 7 rentals in 2016 timeframe when we had our first baby. And I was also, I was a second lieutenant in the Army, and I was preparing for my 3rd combat deployment. I was about to, we were heading to the field for training for the next 6 months. We'd be out for a week and go in for 2 weeks. So a lot of time away from home. And then you go and you leave for a year-long deployment or a 9-month deployment. So you're basically away from your home for almost 2 years. And I just didn't want to keep going down that route with the military, especially now that there were kids involved. And I'd already been through 1 divorce. I didn't want a second one on my hands with children. So I had rentals. I had wholesaled a couple houses. I hadn't been flipping houses yet at this time, but I was like, there's got to be a better way, an easier way to make money in real estate, because these rentals they're kind of a drag, man. If I didn't have a job, like, stuff was breaking constantly in these rentals, and I was barely covering the mortgage on all my rents. And maybe I was probably just doing it wrong. I was buying fixer uppers where I thought was value add. So I had, like, all my credit cards were maxed out as well. Home Depot, American Express, Capital One, to fix these houses up. And I was like, there's no way I can ever leave my job with these rentals. So I started listening to podcasts. Like, I was just, anytime my car was running, I had a podcast going and I was listening to what other people were doing in real estate. And I heard about a guy flipping vacant land. It's like the first person ever on a podcast I'd ever heard talking about land flipping. And I was just fascinated with this story, how he was like making money, doubling his money overnight with land. He was like going to all these tax auctions in these different counties. There's no way I could have done any of that, because I was working like 13, 14-hour days and just preparing to, go to the field. And just so if anybody's like, what do you mean the field? We go and train in the field, and we pretty much emulate battlefield simulations, and you don't have a phone. You're sleeping on the ground, all this crap to prepare for a deployment. So I immediately took action. And sure enough, what this guy was talking about was actually working for me, and it exploded. It started exploding for me in 2016. So I'll pause there because that was kind of a mouthful.
No, that was good. And I mean, I would want to get in the details of what that action was, and like, what did you do, and how much were you buying these pieces for, and what does that look like in terms of the return? I mean, I remember you told me in the past that, I think at one point you eventually woke up and you had $18,000 a month of passive income coming in. How long did it take to get there, and kind of what exactly were you doing?
Yeah, it took me a little over 12 months. And let me tell you, I didn't wake up. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep back then. I had to be on base at 6 a.m. every morning, and I was usually there till about 7 p.m. at night. So I would get up at 4 a.m. every morning and work on my business back in those days. Because, I had a timeline. I had a 3-year timeline to when I was getting out of the military. And I sure enough did not want to, go into foreclosure or not be able to pay my bills. And actually, by the time I got out, we had 3 kids. If anybody knows, like, 3 kids is what 3 kids are kind of expensive.
Yeah,
so, but they're worth it. But yeah, those first actions were quite different from what my land business looks like today. That was the season of hustle. We don't have to stay in that season forever. Thank God, because I'm starting to feel it a little bit. I like my sleep. I actually, since I couldn't go to the tax auctions, I was like, well, what if I get in touch with these landowners before they lose their land? And I almost felt like that was my mission. I was like, I could save these people from losing their land, to where these vultures at the tax auctions, they're not able to buy it. So what did I do? I sent a postcard to all these people on the tax delinquent list. And it was a pain in the butt getting that list. I called the county many times, and there's easier ways to do it now. What I did was I sent a postcard that basically said, hey, my name's Brent. I'd like to buy your land. If you're interested in an all cash fair price offer, call me or text me. God bless you. If anybody wants a copy of that postcard, it still works for me today. I still use it. They can just go to thelandsharks.com/postcard, and it'll ask you for your email, and it'll send you a copy of it. Sometimes it goes to spam, so just check the spam folder. But that first initial mailing was to 687 records. These people were way behind on their land taxes. They hadn't paid taxes in years. They were just about to lose it. Some of them, like, their land was so inefficient. Like it wasn't buildable, it wasn't accessible, it was landlocked or too small. Some of them should have lost it years ago, but the people that were paying the back taxes just never went in to file for the foreclosure when it became deed eligible, or no one even paid the back tax on it because the land sucked so bad. So it's like one man's trash turns into Brent's treasure. So I was getting phone calls, and the first one was a retired CPA, and he's like, "Yeah, Brent, I'll sell you the land for $285." I was like, "Oh crap, let me go look at it. You mind if I look at it?" So that weekend, me and my wife, my newborn son, and one of my Army officer buddies went and looked at it. I had no clue what I was doing. I was like, "Land looks beautiful. It's in Palmer Lake, Colorado, El Paso County, Colorado." I was like, "I don't know what it's worth." So we're leaving, and I know the land's not buildable. It wasn't buildable because there's on one ingress, one egress. So firefighter, the chief, basically the city wouldn't allow anybody to build because the firefighters could get pinned in if there's a fire on the side of the mountain. So I call a real estate office, and sure enough, a realtor answers the phone, and she was familiar with the area. And I was like, "Well, what's the blowout price? What could you sell it for really quickly on the MLS?" She said, "Probably $10,000. And I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh yeah." So we kept talking, and then she finally offered me like 5K for it. She's like, "I'll just pay you 5K if you want to sell it to me." And I was like, "Deal, send me the contract." So before I got home, I had a contract in my inbox on a piece of land I didn't even own. I wasn't even under contract for the land. So technically I was kind of operating illegally already because I wasn't a real estate agent, but I was prepared to buy the land. So I called the seller. I said, "Hey, I'd like to buy the land. I sold it already. I can pay you on Wednesday," because that's the day that we were going to close.
Yeah.
So I said, "Can you do a quit claim deed, or can you just give me the deed to the property?" I didn't know what quit claim deed meant back then. So he gave me the deed. I wrote him a check for $285, but I said, "You got to wait to cash this or it's going to bounce." I've already sold it to a realtor, and he trusted me. So I took my quit claim deed. I did no title searches, nothing like that. I don't know. I think I was just like stargazed by this quick $4,700 I was about to make, because I didn't even make that in 30 days in the military.
Sure.
And I just about to pull this off in a couple hours worth of work. So I took that quit claim deed to Land Title Insurance Company on Tuesday night, after I got it in my name. And Wednesday, I went and picked up my certified check. I deposited it and called the seller. I said, "You should be good to go." And he cashed the check. And I just kept doing those over and over and over.
Now, were there back taxes owed on that, or,
$285.
No, that was it? Okay.
Yeah, the guy went and took that money and gave it to the El Paso County treasurer, but he didn't even need to because the realtor paid it whenever she bought the land from me. So she came to the table with that. So I don't know if he got his money back or what happened. I didn't understand all of it back then. That following weekend, I bought one for $500, and I still didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I was like, "Oh, this is even worse land. I can't get to this land." I had to go across state park land, which is even better because it's like surrounded by land that's never going to be built on. And I put that one on Craigslist for $500 down, so I get my money back, and $400 a month. That's where I started becoming the bank. And that's where I kept building my financial freedom, one loan at a time. So my truck loan was getting covered $400 a month by that land payment. The next one, I think, was the gas bill. So we just kept chiseling off our expenses until we had like so much discretionary income. It was like over $12,000 a month net. And I was just like, this is 4 times what I make in the military.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. That's awesome to hear. Wow.
3 times.
No, it's really good.
Not
And so
4
that was
times.
in Colorado, right? At the time?
Yep, Colorado Springs.
Awesome. And so when you have land like that, which is in a sense, like you said, undevelopable, unbuildable, what is the value? What do the people do with that land?
I didn't stay in that field because let me tell you, it's just as easy to make 50,000 as it to make 5,000. Now, I have some of that left in inventory. Like we'll sell it on seller financing. Eventually people will stop paying or they'll sell it. They stop paying, we take it back and we sell it again. It's like the gift that keeps giving. But a lot of people, like that guy that bought the 5 acres or the 4.9 acres from me, he just wanted hunting land. The realtor, she was speculating. She ended up selling it for like 15 grand. Long story short, I sold another 17 parcels in that same area. And that guy that bought them from me, like sold them all for like tax green credits or whatever. I don't understand all that. But basically he made a little over $2 million on 17 parcels. So like I was just like the first guy. There's many, many ways to make money with land, many ways. For a while there, I was selling like land to truck drivers that just wanted to own a piece of paradise where they could park on it once a month when they went through there. I've sold land to college students that would buy a piece of land in every state and because they were living in their RV going through online school, like things like that.
That's really interesting because you're wondering who's buying this stuff and what's the story behind it. I mean, those are all really interesting stories. Truck drivers, college students. I mean, the tax green credits that's neat. So you started creating passive income, and then where did you end up going from there?
Yeah. So at one time I had about 98 notes coming in. That's like having 98 doors paying me rent every month, but nothing ever breaks because it's vacant land. It's all unimproved, vacant raw land. So I built up that cash flow. Then I started doing bigger deals where we would subdivide. We actually just did a subdivide in South Carolina. We've got 6 parcels. We've already sold 4 out of the 6. We had to sell 3 of them to pay off our loan. So it's just that the land deals just get bigger. Some of my areas actually slowed down. So I did a little pivot about a year ago and started putting brand new mobile homes on this land. So I would see this land like sell quick. I'm like, gosh, who's buying this? And I look and they'd be a brand new mobile home on it. Man, that's how that guy was able to pay me so much for that land. And I'd look at the price and I'd do the math. I'm like, dang, he's making like $45,000 a pop. So, and I had just made like 20 grand on the land. So I was like, if I just put a mobile home on it, I can make another 40. So I'm at 60 grand per mobile home. I got 9 of these going right now. So I started doing that as well. And it's also been great for our community because a lot of land investors, they get bored and they want to do more. So we're now teaching them how to build on the land as well.
Cool. And so I think from what I remember, you tell me in the past. So basically, you started meeting with people and educating them, and kind of in meetup groups, and then no one was really doing anything with it. And someone told you, yeah, if you start charging, then they'll take action. So tell me that story.
I think when you pay attention. Just like me, I always have a coach for one thing or another because I want to compress time frames. My business coach, like he's so much further ahead of me than where I want to be. So I'm compressing his, 50 years of business in 6 months or 8 months so I can move faster and quicker. So I had a lot of time on my hands when I got out of the military in May 2018 because I'm making like 18 grand a month at this time. And actually that first month I had a $55,000 net profit month. And it was like my way of God saying like, look, and you made a great decision to get out because I was scared to get out. I don't know what it was about the military, just institutionalized me. I was like, all my needs were covered, all my financial needs were covered, even though it wasn't a lot, but you don't realize it when you're broke. You just pay your bills. And I basically was going on a lot of coffee appointments with people and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing with people what I was doing. We had also started a real estate meetup in Colorado Springs. It grew so fast. We actually called it the first official Bigger Pockets meetup, which they asked us to not use their name any longer. It worked for a little while. We grew that thing to there's over 100 people coming, but I would share my land business. I would share everything I was doing. They're like, oh, I got to take you out to coffee. So I would spend like another couple hours, with them sitting over coffee. And I just felt like I was just wasting my breath. Like no one was doing anything with this free information I was giving them because it was free. So they didn't value it. And I have another coach that was asking me, like he had helped me with real estate. He was one of my real estate coaches. He's like, how's your land business? And I was sharing with him what I was doing. And like, bro, like, are you teaching people how to do this? It's like, yeah, all the time. He's like, well, what's their results look like? Are they getting the results that you've got? I was like, no one's getting the results. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I can only do this. Maybe it's just in this one market. He said, no. He said, how much are you charging? I said, nothing. He said, that's the problem. He said, start charging and charge the next person and ask you how to do it. So sure enough, Lance King, I actually did a podcast with him on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm a host on that podcast. Every Friday, I interview a land shark and we break down their deals. It's like a case study. We share everything, how to do it, how long it took them to find the land, how they found the land, how much they made, how they sold it. Well, Lance King shared on that podcast. He had come up to me and said, how much? And it's almost like I put it into the universe and God answered the prayer. And I was like, $1,000. And I was like, I almost threw up when I said that because I'm about to charge someone $1,000 for information, but I didn't look at all the years I had spent crafting this. I started learning real estate in 2004. So I've been educating, going to real estate seminars. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on education. Education doesn't pay you anything to educate. It's about action. So yeah, I worked with him for like a couple weeks and I brought on a few more people. Before I knew it, had 16 people I was one-on-one coaching. And you won't believe it. They were getting results, but the results were like so much better than mine because they're doing like bigger deals. And now I'm starting to think, well, crap, why am I not doing bigger deals? So it was like that, the thief of happiness is comparison. And so I just started feeling like I had to for my ego to stay intact, I had to do bigger deals than them because I taught them. Well, now I don't really care. I think that's awesome. The student does better than the teacher most of the time. And they always say there's those that do and those that teach. Well, I'm teaching and doing, and I really, really like teaching. It's even better than doing because these land deals, It's just another piece of vacant land, but boring is money. Just like you talked about your title insurance company, you're making it fun, but boring is consistent cash flow.
No, it's a really good point. So what does it look like today? What does the Land Sharks look like today? How many people are you coaching now?
We've had about 500 people come through the Land Shark since 2018. We do a couple calls a week, live calls. We call them like wins. People come on and share their wins, how they did the deal. A lot of times it's the community member teaching the support call, and then we answer questions. And I have an assistant coach that helps me. And we fund deals, we fund land deals. But I mean, there's guys doing $900,000 a year in land. We got one guy doing $450,000 a year. He's still full time in the military, making almost $500,000 a year net in his business. But he's about to retire with the military, so he's not going to give that up. But it's just, guys like that, I mean, doing so much better, making my land business look small. I probably do about a deal a month.
Hey, look, that $1,000 though, is that $1,000 a month? Is that what they're paying, or is it $1,000 for the program? How long is the program?
We have a couple different options because not everyone comes in. Like, I didn't have any money when I was starting.
Yeah.
So we have a couple different options. Like, I can't coach everyone. It's a smaller program now. I pretty much vet everyone that comes in. I'm thinking about doing some changes, but no, it's not $1,000 a month. It just depends what they're looking for. Like, a lot of people, I just point in the right direction. I don't even coach them. And then, I was thinking about making some changes because not everyone wants the one-on-one coaching, which is expensive. If I'm going to give my time, I'm going to charge for it now. And because I could just go do a land deal and make a ton of money. We've got a couple different tiers. Some people just want to be told what to do. Like, Brent, just share with me what to do. So we laid out the entire land business step by step in action format, super short videos to where they can do it with us. And then there's the guys that, look, I want that. Plus I want community. I want to hang out with other people doing land deals. I want to be able to answer questions and get on calls. And we got that tier 2. And then the third one, they're like, Brent, I want you to show me exactly what you're doing. That's expensive because I don't have a ton of time. I got 3 kids just like you, but I try and push people away from that one.
Sure, it makes sense. But yeah, you think about it, right? Like you were, making, I'm going to make up a number, $3,000 a month in the Army, and all of a sudden you did a deal and you made 5,000 at once. I mean, it's impressive that you didn't just listen to the podcast, but you actually took action and did something about it.
That's the key.
A lot of people talk about the great ideas. Whenever there's a great idea, I have that group of friends that are like, I told you. It's like, no, you didn't tell me anything. You told me of an idea that everyone else knew, and you never did anything about it, right? That's the difference.
You asked me, like, some of the biggest mistakes I've made in my land business is I focused on something else. Like a couple months ago, I was literally driving around and I kind of alluded to this a little bit, but funeral home, people that own funeral homes, because I was like, I'm going to go into another business. Well, that month, I didn't make any new business with my land business. We call it shiny object syndrome or squirrel. There's too much noise out there.
No, it's a really good point. I think the biggest question I can think of, like I even think about, my wife, she had a job in healthcare for many years and she doesn't want to be in healthcare anymore. So you're basically starting all over somewhere. You might go get a job for $50,000 doing something at a local company. And so you could do that and you could be in an office 40 hours a week. Or, this is an interesting path to, when you have someone out there who's like, hey, should I go work for someone and put in the hours and get that guaranteed in that 401k versus something like this? What should someone be thinking about in order to make that decision, in your opinion?
I mean, there's no reason why someone can't do both. I never tell people just go and quit your job. It's like some of the people that I see do the absolute best in land is they still have the job, and they keep that job for a year, maybe a year and a half. There's obviously the outliers. We had a guy, he was the CEO of a hospital and he quit his job in 3 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing, Mason? And he's like, Brent, you don't understand. Like, my health is failing me. I'm working crazy hours and I just made in 3 months what I make in my whole entire salary. Oh, and that was on one land deal. He said that it was more than what my whole entire salary for the whole year was.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that on my first deal. I actually hate when people do that on their first deal because it spoils them.
Yeah, sure.
It really spoils
Not
them.
all like that, yeah.
They're not all like that. Yes. Like, I've got a couple land deals, or I call them the old dogs that need to be taken out back and shot, but that was because I either didn't follow my formula, I got arrogant, or I skipped some steps. Like, I'm lazy. I got a lot going on. I own a couple businesses. So it's really easy to skip steps from time to time, but don't do it. But that person that's thinking about what they should do, I think, obviously we got to cover our basic needs. We got to have food. We got to have shelter, maybe some health insurance. Get that covered. And then your business, your side hustle, let that grow. It's like an acorn. I had these massive oak trees outside my window, and these things all started with an acorn. That's that idea, or maybe like me, it was that podcast I heard, and then it took action, and it was blind faith. I believed that this guy was hopefully telling the truth of what he was doing, and I kind of just modified it, made it work for me, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just kind of like building the airplane in the air, and then eventually I made like $150,000 over like that 2-year period of like pure net profit. So I hired a coach. I actually paid someone $40,000 that was like 15 years ahead of me in this land business. And it helped me and it hurt me. It hurt me because he had a kind of a different land model. So it took me off of what I was doing already. But I kind of went back to where I was at. But I saw like he was making a fortune too with his, but he was doing a big volume game. I prefer to do less and make more. But I hope I answered that question. I went really long with that.
Yeah, you did. In fact, when we talk about coaching, this is something I heard Mark Cuban once said. Oh, if you know the secret to success or whatever, then you're not going to share it with anyone. You should just make all the money yourself. What's your take on that?
I see that as greed. I see that as short-sightedness. I see it as scarcity. I don't think he believes that because he's on TV. He's sharing. He writes books. And here's the thing. Here's the secret of business. You figure out what makes money and you double down on that. That's it. Like, it's not, business is not a one-time like, oh, it's an accident. No, you figure out, okay, you buy the land for 10,000, you sell it for 30,000. Well, not everyone's going to sell their land for 10,000. So I gotta make enough offers. Okay, if I make 1,000 offers, 999 of those people are going to tell me no, or hang up on me, or throw my offer away, or sometimes cuss me out. But that one person. So business is repeatable. Once you figure it out and you get a proof of concept, okay, I got to spend $1 to make $1.25. You just continuously repeat it and you try and improve it.
Yeah, it also could open up additional opportunities for yourself too, such as I think you even said, you create this large network of people that are interested. You funded some of these deals. So that's an opportunity for you. They're making money. You're making
Heck
money.
yeah.
Working together, JVing together. We have a lot of clients in the wholesale business that they do stuff similar to this just to create that network so they can JV and lots of other opportunities too, right?
Yeah, your network. I had a realtor friend, I still do. We own a 19-unit apartment complex together. He says your net worth is reflective on your net work. And I always thought, Colin, that's BS. Why do you always say this? Because it was always at our real estate meetup. He would say that. But years later now, I'm like, holy crap, he was so right. I have built such a network, and I'm not the star anymore. Like everyone else is the star. Yeah, Alfredo's the star when he just did his first $400,000 net profit land deal, which is crazy. I've never done one that big. I still haven't made 400K net on a land deal, but he's the star now. And I've helped him and he's helping other people. So the ripple effect is absolutely incredible. I get to do deals all over the country now. I get to fund these deals. I get lending from people that just say, yeah, I see what these guys are doing. If you ever need money, I now have 80 lenders. These aren't institutions. These aren't these aren't hard money lenders. These are private people that just want to make money in real estate, but they still have their plumbing company or their dentist or a doctor, or my neighbor, my father-in-law. But yeah, it's just, you help. The fastest way to build a network is help as many people as you possibly can.
I'm impressed with what you've done. More and more people have gotten into it. Now, I've seen this before with different people and clients of ours where, someone was doing direct mail early on. They were crushing it. It's harder now because everyone's doing it. So what does land look like today versus, 5-10 years ago? What are the opportunities you're seeing out there and how has it changed?
Land has grown and evolved. A lot more people are talking about it now. 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Well, 10 years ago, I wasn't doing it. I started in 2016. So yeah, almost 10 years now. Jeez.
Yeah.
I sit here and think about this. Yeah. I mean, hardly anybody was talking about it 10 years ago or 9 years ago. I didn't hear anybody talking about it. Now people are starting to talk about it, but maybe it's because of my reticular activating system. Maybe I just notice it. Maybe it's always been around, but I just didn't notice it. It's like buying that red Jeep. Once you buy the red Jeep, you see them all over the place. It's like, oh gosh, I guess I'm not unique as I thought I was. So I don't know. I mean, prices are going up. I mean, there's also prices going down in some areas. I took back a piece of land about 6 months ago. Someone stopped paying. Well, I'm selling it for even more now because I marketed 2 parcels this morning. I'm getting to sell it for more. Like, it's like the gift that keeps giving sometimes. Sometimes I think I paid too much for a piece of land, but when I resell it 3 or 4 times, it's just pure profit.
What areas are you currently doing business?
I'm in Colorado, Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas. But you don't have to start, like, I've been doing this almost 10 years now. Like, anybody's just getting started, I always tell them, start in your own backyard. If there's no land, then expand. Try and be with the in about 3-hour radius. Let's talk. I want to gripe for a minute. Like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. I have a piece of land I got stuck with. I thought it was selling for like $55,000 an acre. When I talk about I got off of my processes, I have a due diligence checklist, a land buying roadmap. I'd like to offer to your audience, if they go to thelandsharks.com/DD as in due diligence. I missed a very crucial step. I paid about $25,000 an acre for some land in Florida, a little over 25. It was like 115,000 total, 4 acres. Well, this stuff's selling for 55,000 an acre. No brainer, right?
Mhm.
Well, dummy me or lazy me, whatever you want to call it, I took a shortcut. I didn't call the county and say, hey, is this land buildable? Can I get a building permit? Because there's 4 acres. I should have been able to build 4 houses. Not that I was going to build it. I was just going to sell them to builders.
Yep.
Well, the developer never built the roads. So the county said, yeah, sure, you can get a permit once you put the curbs and gutters and asphalt roads in. I'm like, ching, 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 ching. I'm like, there's no way I could ever even break even on this property.
Sure.
Well, I'd already bought it. Too late. So I found a couple loopholes and basically I built a barn on this land. Well, the place is so hard to access, and I've been building a freaking road since I've been building the barn. Like, it has been the biggest pain in the butt, like 2-year process. I got, like, tonight, I got to go and meet my excavator to pull 24,000 pound lift out because we got the lift stuck and we got the truck stuck. And it was just a nightmare.
So eventually this will be a property with a nice barn and a nice road that, hopefully get your money back, but probably not worth the time and effort.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. The barn's done. I just got to improve the road a little bit more. I got to get the lift unstuck so Sunbelt Rentals can have their lift back. But little things like that. Sometimes we got to go over some obstacles, but you can avoid those obstacles if you follow the due diligence checklist by getting at thelandsharks.com/DD. Most of my coaching is just helping people avoid the mistakes I've made.
Oh, smart. So you're in a variety, all these different states. How large is your team in terms of finding these deals?
You won't believe it. It's me, a virtual assistant, and my office manager. That's it.
Pretty amazing. And what is the main thing you're currently doing today to find those deals? Is it a variety of many things, or is there one thing that works better than most?
The one thing. It's all about the one thing. Gary Keller wrote a book on it. So you find where the demand's at, where land's selling, you price this land out, and you send an offer letter. I use a software program. Someone can get access to the program I use, all my templates, 14-day free trial, and a $50 mail credit if they go to thelandsharks.com/CRM as in customer relationship manager. This is my CRM as well. This is how we send these offers. And it's all about making offers daily. If you're a single dude or a single woman, you ask 10 ladies, you're probably going to get a date. Like, it's all about making offers.
No, I love it, man. Listen, this was really interesting. Love what you're doing there. Appreciate you coming on. I think there's a lot of valuable information that will help. Look, at the end of the day, you can keep your job. You can try this out. You can test small markets before you give up everything, right? I mean, there's a way to do it and kind of moonlight, right? Before you jump all the way in.
That's so true, man. And that's what it was. Like, my back was against a wall. I knew I was getting out of the military in 3 years. I needed to make this work. But here's the thing, like, I think real estate is a long run. Business is a marathon. We do the best we can to take care of our bodies and ourselves. And we look at as a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan. Tony Robbins says we always overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate what we can do in a decade. Well, I've been buying land for almost a decade. And it actually came from a problem, but I was getting hit hard with taxes. Like, I mean, I'm pretty much paying 40 cents on every dollar to the IRS. Well, I learned with my CPA that if I buy other real estate with buildings on it or mobile home parks or light industrial buildings, I can take my land money and rather than pay a boatload of taxes, I can put that into more real estate and build a massive empire over 10 years. And that's what we're doing. Like, all this stuff will be paid for in less than, some of them 12 years, some of them less than 14 years. But we'll have put so much money from the land profits into more real estate that's cash flowing, commercial, and it's almost like those babies make more babies.
So the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to, check in, ask you questions, work with you?
Sure. Yeah, people can go to thelandsharks.com and get on my calendar. I'm on all the socials, Brent L. Bowers. Yes, the L stands for land. I'm pretty active. I always try to answer my Facebook messages. I'm a little behind on Instagram messages, but I do my best to kind of make sure I respond.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, really enjoyed it today. Look forward to chatting more in the future, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, sir.